Hello everyone, welcome back to On the Fly. Today we're going to bring you the Team Sweden roster officially for the 2025 Four Nations Faceoff. So we'll hop into it today by showing you the roster, of course. So we start here with the 6 players that were originally on the team back in June. So that is Filip Forsberg, William Nylander, Mika Zibanejad on the defense, Victor Hedman, Gustav Forsling, and Erik Karlsson. Now to the forwards that were selected this afternoon at about 2 o'clock, 2:30 by the time Sweden finally came around. So it was Jesper Bratt, Elias Lindholm, William Karlsson, Elias Pettersson, Adrian Kempe, Lucas Raymond, Joel Eriksson Ek, Leo Carlsson, Victor Arvidsson, and Gustav Nyquist. So these forwards were a lot of locks, right? You sort of, if you're looking at it sort of directionally, you got Bratt, Lindholm, Karlsson, Pettersson, Kempe, Raymond, and Eriksson Ek as sort of like those main lock players. And then the bottom 3 are really up for grabs. And I mean, in my projection video, I had Backlund, Zetterlund, and Eklund being the 3 players in. Instead, it was Leo Carlsson, Victor Arvidsson, and Gustav Nyquist, sort of filling out that full 200-foot game. Leo Carlsson a little bit less than, say, the other 2. But the Arvidsson and Nyquist, great pickups for the full 200-foot game for the Swedish team, and that's what they're going to really have to do here at this tournament, is be able to contend for a full 60 minutes, play good defensive hockey, and they'll do just fine. They're not going to be able to win games, by blowout margins. You won't see a lot of 7-5 wins or 4-7 losses or whatever it might be, right? Where it's high-scoring games. That's not what you're going to get out of this Swedish team. It's going to be a lot of tight battles, 2-1, 3-1, 1-0. Those kind of tight games is what you're looking for out of this Swedish team. And I am interested to see, how offensive this team ends up doing. Because obviously there's a lot of two-way guys on this Swedish team. You have guys like Nylander and Zibanejad who will put the puck in the back of the net for you, and Pettersson as well, if we're going to sort of pick names here. But at the same time, you're going to have a lot of two-way guys in this roster up and down the lineup that are going to play the full 200-foot game, keep the games close. And that's one of the things I'm really looking for out of this team to really take it to that next level. If they want to beat a team, say like a Canada or US, they got to take care of it in both ends. And what better way to do that than to take care of your defense? And let's talk about the defense now. With, in my opinion, probably the best or close second behind the U.S. in terms of their defense. So we start with the original 3, so Hedman, Forsling, Karlsson, and then the players selected today include Rasmus Andersson, Rasmus Dahlin, Matthias Ekholm, and Jonas Brodin. One player on this list, as you can probably see behind me here with that Bruins flag, Hampus Lindholm, obviously not selected to this team. My eyes, that's because of the injury he has right now. He's missed quite a few weeks coming into the selections as well. He's going to be missing quite a few more weeks on top of that. So not necessarily by skill that Lindholm's knocked out, but I think more so just because of the injury, not really knowing what's going to come. They'd rather have their team somewhat locked for the Swedes. But I also think, as Hampus Lindholm, if there's an injury who pops up, I think Lindholm is the likely candidate, assuming he's back in time. If not, I think it'd go to someone like Rasmus Sandin to really get all the Rasmuses going. But I think Hampus Lindholm would be that injury replacement if any one of the 7 defensemen gets hurt before February, right when the tournament starts. It's the one problem that, and you'll hear this across all of the videos we're talking about today, they'll all be in the same playlist, you can see in the description below. But at the same time, the common theme throughout today is that it's too early. It's too early to have these rosters because there's still 2 months out before the season, 2 months left of the season before you get to this tournament. So you really don't know what is going to happen between then and then. Very well, any of these players could go on a real cold streak and find themselves as the 13th forward or the 7th defenseman or basically the 3rd relegated goalie. And it'll be interesting to see sort of what goes on there. And when we talk about the goalies here, I'll explain why that's so important. But for the defense, Jonas Brodin is a pretty good replacement for Lindholm. Likely going to be the 7th guy, I think. Ekholm, Dahlin, Rasmus Andersson, as well as Erik Karlsson, Forsling, and Hedman, I think will be the starting 6. I think that just makes sense. But at the same time, Brodin might if he gets on a hot streak, right, where he's able to play the way Sweden wants him to play, and you see that the right way, Would not surprise me to see him in the lineup. So definitely something to take note of there. Moving on to the goalies now, and this is one that I think really could go any which way. So goalies that are on the team now is Markstrom, Allmark, and Gustafsson. So I'll be curious to see here what's next in terms of who's going to get the starting role. And I think right now, based on what we've seen, I'm going to take Markstrom as the starter, Allmark as the backup, and Gustafsson as the third string. Although, frankly, that could change in a snap, right? 2 months away from the season going, before this tournament starts, what's to come, right? Becomes the question is how much time going to impact this decision? And I mean, right now it might be Markstrom, but by the time February rolls around, it very well might be Gustafsson. And that becomes the problem. I mean, other goalies kind of left off this list as Forsberg and Ersson. But I think, in the long run, I don't think either of those two goalies crack the starting Swede, that starting Swede net. So I think in the long run, this is still decent for the Swedes. They have to take care of the defensive end. And I think you have Markstrom and you have Allmark to do that. I think you'll be okay. Same with the defense. You have probably one of the best, if not second best, defenses in this tournament, right? And I think that's where, for the Swedes, they're going to be very good. I think they're really big underdogs in this tournament. I think a lot of people are going to count them out just because they don't have quite as many star names on their, especially their forward group. But they're going to win this tournament by competing in tight games, 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. That's the way that this team is built. And it really wouldn't surprise me to see them keep it and be able to contend with teams like Canada and the US, holding those powerhouse nations to a low-scoring game. And that's going to be the trick for the Swedish team, is just to see if they can hold on long enough to eventually get their 1 goal or their 2 goals and really run with it. And I think you have certain guys to look for to score those goals, but at the end of the day, it has to be a full team effort if you want any chance to beat those Canadas and those USs. And that's where guys like Nyquist and Arvidsson, who might not be your sort of flashy type players like, say, an Eklund or a Zetterlund, come in, but it makes a ton of sense if you're looking at it as, okay, this team's going to contend on the defensive side. That's why it's going to be so crucial. And, you look up and down this list, there's a lot of two-way guys on here. You have guys like Lindholm, is one of the players that I think really sort of flies under the radar. I think it was former Selke finalist, I believe, a couple of years ago. He's one of those players that you look towards, right, who might as well, he's right up there with them. And it'll be interesting to see sort of what goes on in terms of, if there's injuries, who's the next player up. And we're going to pick players just to sort of give a general overview of who that might be. And I think, judging based on how this team looks right now, say a forward does go down, I think you're looking at a guy like Rickard Rakell maybe, or a guy like Mikael Backlund. I had him on the original list. I don't know if Eklund and Zetterlund would make a ton of sense for this team in terms of, obviously it depends on who goes down with injury for the forward group at least. But I think you're looking at a guy like Mikael Backlund or Rickard Rakell to fill in that extra injury spot, say something were to happen to any one of those players. On the defense side, obviously we've already touched on it, but I think Hampus Lindholm, assuming he's back in time. Otherwise, I think it'd be Rasmus Sandin. And for the goaltenders, I think it'd probably be Anton Forsberg, though Samuel Ersson is a very close second. I think it really could be either one of those, but in the long run, I think Markstrom, Allmark, Gustafsson are going to be your 3. Other than that, this Swedish team is definitely an underdog at this tournament, and it really wouldn't surprise me to see them really make a push here. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them take this tournament on top, winning it, even though they've had quite the history in these international tournaments. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. If you'd like to drop a like, if you really like this, if you're subscribing, tell all your friends and comment down below your thoughts on Team Sweden. Until next time, see you.